Yerp. Yerp. Yes, yerp. Yerp Nation, what it is. Bang, bang. Niner gang. 49er Nation, what the lick read, y'all. What's going on in the Bay Area, all the way from South Florida Niner. Today, y'all, we got a 49ers versus Seahawks preview, man. We're going to preview the Seahawks, everything they need to do to win, everything we need to do to win, some key matchups, some key players, and the final prediction of the score. I ain't going to hold y'all too long, man, so let me go ahead and get into it. This week, my 2-1 49ers will be taking on the 1-2 Seattle Seahawks in Levi Stadium. Sunday afternoon, the Seahawks, they won their first game 28-16 against the Colts. They lost the week after that, 33-30 to the Titans, and they lost last week 30-17 to the Vikings. Been giving up a lot of points on defense the last 2 weeks, which should bode well for us, for the 49ers nation, you feel me? But let's go ahead and get into some team stats, man. How about we do some team stats here? So let's break down some team stats. As far as points per game go, the Seahawks average 25 points per game. We average 28.7 points per game. The Seahawks allow 26.3 points per game, and we allow 24.7 points per game. As far as total yards gained, the Seahawks are averaging 406 yards per game. We are averaging 360 yards per game, with 298.3 of that being passing for the Seahawks and 107.7 being rushing. As far as us, 255 of that being passing and 105 of that being rushing. Yards allowed, the Seahawks are allowing a whopping 462 yards a game, with 307 of that being through the air and 155 of that being on the ground. We ain't been too much better either. We're allowing 385 yards a game, with 263 of that being through the air and 122.3 of that being on the ground. With that being said, the 49ers are a 2.5 point favorite as we speak right now. Now let's get into the Seahawks, man. Let's talk offense with the Seahawks. And let's get into some strengths and some weaknesses. Y'all know I can't say strengths right? It always somehow F end up in there somewhere. So let's get into some strengths and some weaknesses for the Seahawks offense. And for some strengths, the passing game has been a big strength for these guys. Probably their best strength on the season. As far as consistency, as far as getting yards, getting touchdowns, the passing game, you got Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, all those guys throwing a couple tight ends that nobody ever heard of but still balling. And you got the Seahawks on offense, right? Big plays. These guys have been having some big plays on the year. When you think about it, you got a 69-yard pass play, a 68-yard pass play, a 30-yard pass play, 39-yard pass play, 31-yard pass play, 33-yard run, 25-yard run. So the big play is a strength. Passing game and big play are my strengths for this offense. As far as weaknesses for this offense, pass protection. In 3 games, Russell Wilson has been sacked 8 times, and usually he's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league. But this year he's running at about almost about a little more than 2.5 sacks per game clip, which isn't how the Seahawks want to play football. And running back depth. Outside of Chris Carson, no other running back has more than 3 carries on this team. So running back depth, if you can slow down Chris Carson, looks like you can slow down this running game with him having 202 of the 323 total rushing yards that they have, right? So let's get into some key players for these guys on offense. Of course, you got quarterback Russell Wilson, who is 63 of 86 on the year, with a 73% completion percentage, with 895 yards and 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did get sacked 8 times. He also has 11 carries for 32 yards and no touchdowns. At running back, Chris Carson, their workhorse, 41 attempts, 202 yards, 4.9 yard average per carry with 3 touchdowns. He does have a fumble on the year. He does have a fumble on the year that he's lost, so that is a thing for him to be looking out for. At wide receiver, their leading wide receiver so far this year has been Tyler Lockett, and he has been averaging 19 yards a catch. He has 16 catches, 309 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Then you have DK Metcalf right after that, another key wide receiver for these guys who can take the top off of a defense. He has 16 receptions as well for 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then you get into their 2 tight ends. You have Gerald Everett, who has 8 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown. Then you have tight end Will Dissly, who has 4 receptions for 76 yards. And if you look at these tight ends, man, these guys have been thrown to. They've been targeted 13 times, and they've caught 12 of those. So these tight ends are sure-handed. These guys get open. It's going to be something that our linebackers are going to have to worry about in coverage, or whoever's playing nickel as well, if they do come out with some 2 tight end sets on us. But those are the key players for offense, man. Let's move straight into defense for the Seahawks. And let's get into some of their strengths and weaknesses. Some strengths for the Seahawks defense right now. The only strengths I could come up with is their 2 superstars. Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams are the only 2 strengths that I see on this defense. And even with Jamal Adams, he's not doing Jamal Adams type things so far through 3 games. He's not getting sacks. He's not pressuring the quarterback. He's not getting many tackles for losses. So yeah, man, like I said, this defense has given up a hell of an amount of yards. The last 2 weeks, they've given up over 30 points a game, 30 points or more a game. So yeah, man, there's 2 superstars that are the only strengths that I see. As far as weaknesses, everything else, man, everything else. On the season, they have 7 sacks, which isn't bad. It's about a little over 2 per game. Have 13 tackles for loss, which is about 4 tackles for loss per game. But what is the biggest glaring thing for me is through 3 games, these guys have only forced 2 turnovers, and they are both have been forced fumbles. No interceptions from the back end. These guys, DBs, it seems like they can't guard anybody. I mean, like I said, they're giving up a whopping 307 yards passing right now. So they're giving up 300 yards passing per game so far right now. Jamal Adams is a great run support safety, a great blitzing safety. I've never liked him in coverage though. I think he's somebody you can exploit in coverage. And I know Kyle Shanahan, with drawing up his plays and motions and all that good stuff, can exploit him in coverage as well. But yeah, man, that's the strengths and weaknesses that I have for the Seahawks on defense. Let's get into some key players for the Seahawks on defense. I have DT Al Woods, who has 9 total tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss. You have DN Darnell Taylor. And Darnell Taylor has 9 total tackles as well. He has 2 sacks, and he has 1 tackle for loss. We move into the linebackers. Of course, Bobby Wagner is the leading tackler on his team with 44 total tackles through 3 games. He has 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass defended. Then we have cornerback DJ Reed, who has 17 total tackles on the year and a fumble recovery. And then you have safety Jamal Adams, who is 3rd on the team in tackles with 26 tackles. He only has 1 tackle for loss, which isn't like Jamal Adams, and he doesn't have any sacks either as well. So those are some key players on defense for the Seahawks. Let's get into 3 keys for a Seahawks win against the 49ers. Number 1, make the 49ers beat you deep. I said this in my recap for last week's game with the 49ers and the Packers. I don't know that we have a deep threat in San Fran. I don't know. Now, we do have, like I said, we do have great yak receivers, great guys who can run posts, who can run corners, ins and outs, Diggs, who can run stops and break tackles and get you yak yards. But as far as guys who can get out there and run a go route, or who can get out there and win the jump ball in a one-on-one situation, I don't know that we have that deep threat. And so the first key that I have for the Seahawks is to make the 49ers beat you deep. Take away all the short passes, take away the running game, and make those guys beat you deep. Number 2, Take advantage of the 49ers secondary situation. Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Freddie Swain, the tight ends. Take advantage of the 49ers being extremely hurt and down to second string, third string, and fourth string players at the cornerback position. And take your shots, man. Take your shots downfield. Try to get over the top of those guys with your speed and with Russell Wilson's accuracy. And, yeah, man, take advantage of the 49ers secondary situation. And number 3, protect Russell Wilson. They haven't done a great job at protecting him, and we all know what the 49ers want to do. They want to get after the quarterback and make him uncomfortable. I think that if the Seahawks can protect Russell Wilson, they will have a better chance at beating us on Sunday, especially that the game is a home game for us, to take the crowd out of it. You protect Russell Wilson, you hit those big plays, which goes hand in hand with my second key, which is take advantage of the 49ers secondary situation. So as long as they can protect Russell Wilson, he can take advantage of that secondary situation, and it could spell trouble for us 49ers. Now let's get into 3 keys that I have for a 49ers win. Number 1, establish some kind of running game. Right now we are only averaging 101 yards a game? We are averaging 105 yards a game rushing, which is not what we want to be. We want to be more in that 160, 170 range. And yeah, so we just have to establish some kind of run game. Hopefully we can get Elijah Mitchell and Jermichael Hayes is on injured reserve. Hopefully we can get Elijah Mitchell back, and a couple of those guys that we signed to the practice squad a few weeks ago can get activated, and we can have at least a little rotation to try to find somebody who can get us some type of running game. Number 2, stay on top of the wide receivers. What I mean by stay on top, don't let them dudes get behind you, man. No matter what, we cannot. DK Metcalf has excellent speed. Tyler Lockett has excellent speed. Freddie Swain has excellent speed. We cannot let them guys get behind us at all in the deep passing game. We have to keep them in front, and we have to tackle. Keep them in front of us and tackle. Stay on top of the wide receivers. Do not let those guys get behind us and beat us deep. And number 3, we have to play more consistently on offense, bro. We can't have all these 3 and outs and getting all these field goals. We have to finish drives. We have to start it early. We can't dig ourselves in a hole like we did against the Packers, down 17-0, and then having to fight back all game. We have to jump on top of the Seahawks early, play with more consistency on offense, have some more consistent play calling, some more consistent execution, and jump on these guys early and score early and often, and we'll be all right, man. We'll be all right. But yeah, those are my 3 keys to a 49ers win. Now, let's get into 2 key matchups that I'm looking forward to watching this Sunday, and that's the 49ers secondary versus Russ, DK, and Tyler. I want to see what the 49ers secondary can do against these guys. If we can, I don't expect us to shut these guys down, right? Just bearing injury situations and all that good stuff, right? So we're not expecting Russell Wilson to throw for like only 120 yards and a touchdown and an interception, right? We're not expecting that. What we are expecting is for the passing game not to be what breaks our back and beats us. So what we are expecting is for us to contain the passing game and be able to keep those guys in front of us and limit the big play. That's what I'm looking for. And the second key matchup is the Seahawks front 7 versus the 49ers run game. Right now, the Seahawks are giving up 155 yards a game rushing. I want to see what the Seahawks front 7 can do against our run game. Our run game hasn't really got off to the start that we would like as 49ers fans in the Kyle Shanahan offense, right? The first 3 weeks. So I want to see if the Seahawks front 7 can stymie our run game the way the Packers did. Because then again, that puts the ball all in Jimmy's hands, and Jimmy has to go out and win it if we can't run the ball, because then if we can't run the ball, we won't be successful with the play action, which we love to do, and we won't be successful with the end arounds and all that good stuff that we love to run off that successful run game. So yeah, man, the Seahawks front 7 versus the 49ers run game. Can the Seahawks front 7, who has been horrible against the run this year, slow down the 49ers running game, which has been horrible to 49ers standards this year as well? And now for the grand finale, bang, bang, Niner gang. Who do I have winning this game? You already know I got the Niners in a win, 31-21. We're improving to 3-1 on the year. Let's go, Niner Nation. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Y'all let me know in the comments, man, how y'all feel about this game, what y'all score predictions is, key matchups, all that good stuff. And remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, I am real, and I have a damn sports opinion. Go Niners.